What's up guys, Manny from Motomillion and it's RSV4 time. Well, if you realize, my shirt changed because we had some audio issues, so we had to reshoot some of these segments to make sure we have proper audio for you guys. And unfortunately I don't have the same shirt. I was wearing that shirt because Florida Panthers won the Stanley Cup. I do follow hockey, big NHL fan, grew up in Canada. There you go, was a Vance Beesbrook fan too. So let's get to this RSV4. In this state, it's already done. We did all the work and you guys are gonna get to see it. And what do? So we install the new version of this underslung caliper setup. So the bike has an underslung caliper setup as of now that we're filming this. This was our prototype that our friend Matthew from Emesco sent it to us. We're trying to figure out and tweak things. And if you watch our vlog episode, there was a couple things that was not fitting correctly as we wanted with this piece, because we want to make sure that it fits the bike, number one, with the stock caliper, number two, with P234, Brembo aftermarket calipers. And then the biggest thing is that we want to use the stock wheels as well as the OZ Racing wheels or aftermarket wheels. And on top of it, we want to retain ABS because these go on road bikes. So we had that done, and this is what that first prototype looks like. I'm going to take the wheel off. I'm going to take everything off. You guys will see in a second, and we'll start test fitting it. I have not seen an underslung setup that's not for racing. The race stuff only works with race wheels and ABS delete. This one works with everything that I mentioned earlier. So let's see me taking these things off, and then we're going to add some additional parts as well. We have some carbon fiber that went on the bike, and furthermore, we actually installed an ultralight rear rotor by MM Racing on the bike since the wheel was off. Well, so the bike is done, obviously, right? So we have to take our tank off. Our ABS pump is here because this underslung caliper conversion kit comes with the bracket and also the brake line that friend Tubo made for us from Italy. So the brake line runs from the ABS pump all the way down here. And as you can see, now that it's all routed and all finished, it runs just on the stock line locations. It uses one of the two clips that's on the swing arm, and it mounts perfectly onto your stock caliper. So now that this is done and we have our ultralight rotor, let's see what other parts that we put on. There was some carbon fiber that we put on this bike, and then I want to tell you guys what the benefits of running this underslung caliper setup is on this bike. And I have a conspiracy because I think I know why Aprilia doesn't run it anymore on their motorcycles, but we'll get to it. And just like all the other videos, guys, the parts that we mention and show on our videos are in the link in the description below. So check them out. This caliper conversion kit is available as of this video for you guys to purchase. It should fit everything from 2021 and newer RSV4. We'll let you know if it fits a 210 V4 as well. If you guys didn't know, this is 650 EEP's personal RSV4. The bike did have some carbon fiber that we had previously installed, I think last year when the bike was over here in Miami. Now it came back, there's more availability on the parts. We installed our tank side panels, which really ties everything together because it has the rear hugger that was satin carbon fiber. It has the front fender that was satin carbon fiber. This was the plastic piece that we replaced with carbon fiber. And you guys saw us do the Extrenta tail on Eve's giveaway bike that's called the Grape Ape. Now we have the rear seat cover. So it's not the Extrenta tail. I know that Eve's gonna ask us for it, but we decided to run this seat cover on this bike just to show you guys the options that's available. If you don't want any additional winglets or the styling of that Extrenta style tail, we have this beautiful piece as well. It's super easy to change. I don't know if you would call this a seat because Aprilia calls that other piece that we took out a seat. I don't know who could sit on it and be comfortable. If you've taken passengers on your RSV4, let me know what they were thinking of it, and let us know if that wasn't actually the seat that was supposed to be there. Maybe that was just a piece and there's another seat that comes on it. it would be news to me, but put that in the comments below. But this is it. So this is the finished form for this episode, because we have a lot more parts coming up. I think next thing is going to be to try to figure out the clip-ons for this motorcycle, because it's not so easy to replace. And if you guys have watched our videos on my first ride of the RSV4, which was the Speed White, when you go lock to lock, your hands kind of hit the fairings, and the RCS master cylinder would really benefit for this bike and the beautiful stylomic calipers that it has. So that's going to be coming up on the next episode. Enjoy looking at me putting these beautiful carbon fiber pieces on, and then I'm going to tell you guys the benefits of an underslung rear caliper setup. Well, I wasn't going to let you guys go without giving you guys some technical information that I feel like most of you guys like, because you always mention in the comments below, and I really, really appreciate all your comments. I personally read them, and I try to answer all you guys who comment. So thank you so much. So what's the benefit of an underslung rear caliper setup? So the benefit of a rear underslung caliper setup is, number one, it's lower center of gravity. This is done by a lot of the high-end race cars. So Formula One cars, if you take a look at them, the calipers are as low as possible because they are quite heavy with fluid in them, especially if you're running some massive calipers. This was one of the reasons that they started doing them on motorcycles as well. But the second reason is, I think this is the reason for most people, it's easier to remove that rear wheel off the bike and put it back on. In this case, with this caliper bracket that we did, there's a slight ridge on the rear caliper, which I'll show you here on the first prototype. This ridge is here to hold your wheel on there so that you could just rest the wheel and get your axle through. It's not as foolproof as a full-on rear quick change setup, but for a quick change you need a lot more than just a caliper bracket. You need specialized rear chain adjusters, and I think that there's not enough people that would want it, and the price point is pretty high. This kit is priced really well. Like we said, it works with the P234 caliper and your stock caliper as well. And also, I think there's also a third benefit to it other than the ease of removing and installing your wheel. It's that it just looks beautiful, because especially if you're running a muffler like this, which is short and small, you get a lot more view of your rear wheel. So in this case, this bike has a beautiful, I think this is the nicest color Aprilia OEM wheel that you could get. And obviously this ultralight rotor adds more of a look to it. It also has some weight benefits that we showed you guys on the weigh-in. So you guys saw the difference in weight. It's quite a bit of weight that we've saved just by a rotor, and we're pretty happy with it. But that's the benefit, that it also, to me, it looks much nicer. And when you look at the bike, you know, who doesn't like seeing an underslung caliper? It's one of those things that I would say, if you know, you know. So let us know what you guys think. I think this should have been done by Aprilia from factory. We think the main reason for it is that there was a lot of issues with bleeding the rear brakes. Unfortunately, all the craftsmanship and all the know-how of mechanical knowledge is going away. This is my conspiracy. They didn't put an underslung caliper setup on the new Aprilias because there must have been a lot of complaints with the bleeding of the rear brakes. If you have an underslung setup, you really have to remove the caliper and bring it all the way up. Try to bring it even higher than your ABS pump. If there's any air bubbles in your system, it goes all the way up in the system to your caliper to remove it. It's not even just having a diagnostic computer that can run your pump or even using an air bleeder. This is almost a must. So that's my conspiracy, that this bike didn't come with a underslung caliper setup. If you guys know the real reason, let us know, because I think it was mainly due to the fact that they were getting way too many complaints from their own techs, but also from some home mechanics saying that they cannot bleed the air in the system of the rear. But I think that's pretty much for this episode, guys. I apologize for the audio not being there, but hey, we shot these clips for you guys to make sure that we could make the best of this episode for you guys. As I mentioned, there's a lot more coming for this bike. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. Until next time, guys, have a good one.